now tuned into the greatest.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So when do you officially open the ramen spot?
Next week.
Bro, isn't that crazy?
Week.
Are you excited or what?
Crazy. I am excited. I just purchased. Oh, I'll show you the invoice. $738 worth of food.
Uh-huh. And it made you
Like,
freak
I'm
out?
going extra. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm going extra because, like, just in case, like, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I know a lot of folks are coming down for me on Monday to check out the spot.
Yeah.
And most of them I'm giving free bowls because, you know, they're like family members, but
Yeah.
I don't know. So half of it will be to give away. And then, you know, if they bring a friend over, obviously they pay, but I didn't tell them that. It's like my little marketing scheme, right? If they bring a buddy over, they eat for free, but the other friend, you know, obviously gets to pay. But like that's my
it's kind of hard to give like free food right off the bat.
Yeah,
man. You know,
I
I
know.
would highlight. I would try. My only advice is like, listen, especially if it's friends and family, like, you know, you either eat the whole night or, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
it's, you know, like if you want to have a friends and family night, then I totally get it. But like, if not, you need to be open for business because the thing is like, whether you like it or not, you need to start making money right away. And
dude,
the thing is
me.
I feel like sometimes people take advantage of that, especially family members, you know?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Especially
It
my
is what it
brother.
is. It's like, yeah. So it's like, oh, you got a restaurant. They want the whole house, bro.
Yeah.
They want the whole house. Like, yo.
Yeah.
So that's why, like, you know, it's, maybe you should have a friends and family night, you know, call that your soft opening, right?
Well, technically tomorrow, Monday is like my soft opening. I'm literally testing everything. I don't know how this app is going to work. So I'm going with the Square KDS. I mentioned that to you, right? Like I haven't like connected it to like the internet there. So I don't know. Is it going to populate? Am I going to see the fucking tickets? Is it going to work right off the bat? Like everything is signed up. Everything is correct on my end. But like, since I'm not physically live, I can't troubleshoot anything. So
Yeah.
it's going to be, soft opening, I should say, Monday. And then after that, literally everybody paid except for like my mother and my brother, which, you know, eats for free.
Yeah. I mean, listen, we all like to take care of our family members, but at the same time, you know, sometimes family takes advantage, man. And it's kind of sad, right? Because like you are a brand new business, bro. And I'm going to be honest, you need to make money right off the bat. You don't have an option. So the thing is like, if I were you, I would separate that from your first night of business. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, say, look, this is a soft opening. This is friends and family. You know, work out the kinks. Yeah. Eat it. Eat $300, you know, whatever it takes, you know, eat your costs just to do a friends and family night. But then after that, you need to open up for business, man, start cranking. Yeah. And if I were you, I would go heavy on the marketing, man, after your first week.
Yeah.
So like, separate I would at least like budget like $500, $600 and see if you can reach out to some influencers local in the area that you're in.
Yeah.
And that way, you know, you have a fighting chance, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
And then it's like, you know, we go until we're sold out, right? Like build up the hype. I think you're going to do fine. You're going to be just fine. You're just going to be just fine. Too. Once you sell that, once you sell that first bowl of ramen, you're going to be like, all right, this is it. This is what we doing.
Yeah.
You know, ain't no question.
Yeah, I'm gonna crank out pretty heavy on the prep. Well, not heavy, but the stock pretty much. I'll go with like, I don't know, 50 portions for Monday. Let's see, maybe I have 6 right now, chilling in the fridge. So I have that little buffer if I really need it. But I'm gonna crank out at least about 50. So that's like 20 pounds of pork bones, 5 pounds of chicken feet, and then like the other, the consomme, which is just the veggies and shit. And that's it.
Yeah, man. That sounds good, bro. That sounds good. I'm excited for you. I'm glad it's coming to fruition, man. And it's like, you know, listen, you're going to be successful, man. You know how to run a kitchen. And it's going to, like, that's just going to be managing a station, right? Like,
I know. That's literally just a station.
Hypothetically
that's
what
it,
you're doing.
Man.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's kind of, it's hard at first, but like, I think you'll realize like you're going to find a true fulfillment, true happiness in doing that, you know? Because it's yours. It's your baby. You built it.
I know.
I think that's more meaningful than any type or amount of money like that anyone could ever ask for. And so that's dope.
I mentioned it to you, like I just want to make enough money to be comfortable and like have like a small crew of people and they're comfortable. That's it. Like as soon as we're done with shit, like that end of day, you know, like fuck it.
So
like, why do I need to make
you'll
more,
know how much. Yeah. Yeah, you'll know once you have a month of sales, you'll know how much you need to just like float, right? The fact that you don't have any overhead as far as rent is amazing. That is like, I can't stress enough. Like I tell anybody, all my chef friends, whoever's going to open a restaurant, dude, the rent is the most important thing, man. Like if you, like that's probably your biggest expense. And that's why you got it. Like if you're going to open a restaurant, I highly recommend going into a building that's already paid off, or that it's a real estate investor that's willing to, refinance and invest into the business, right? Like I think that's so important because so many people like where they go, they like chefs or restaurateurs, they go and they lease a building, right? They go and they lease. So they have this monster lease payment. But, the restaurant doesn't make money at first, right? You have to pay staff. You have to pay cost of goods. And everything's so expensive. And you have all these unexpected costs. And it's like, if you don't have the capital to cover it, to get you up and running, at
least for like the first year, right? Like it's crazy, like how much money like it needs to start. Like if we're like, so I'll give you perspective, like the brick and mortar space that he's paying right now, I think his rent is, like $6,000 for a month just for the space. That's not PSNG or, electric bill or any of that bullshit. It's just the space. And then, he has taxes, he has employees, like there's 3 other fucking levels that he has to deal with.
So let me ask you something. He doesn't own the building straight out. He pays rent on the building? Yeah,
he still pays rent though.
So, or is he paying a mortgage? He's probably paying a mortgage. You said he was selling it, right?
Yeah, he's
trying to sell it for sale. So then so that means he probably has a mortgage on it, as a commercial mortgage.
Yeah, maybe. He doesn't own the building because like he tried to buy it before, I think his 5th year there, but the current owner of the building, because he owns like half that block. It's crazy. He said in the 90s he wanted to sell it for $1 million. He was like, yeah, I'm not paying $1 million for this. It's crazy. $1 million in the 90s, my guy.
Yeah, I know, but you know what? The thing is commercial real estate is weird, right? Yeah. So this I just learned this recently. You should learn this too, because real estate is very important. But so basically, when we think of $1 million, like it's a lot to us, but in commercial real estate, it's not. And let me explain why. So what the banks look at when you're borrowing the money is they look at the income producing asset, right? So we're used to this little real estate. I'm not like, this is not professional money advice, okay?
Not
Please.
Advice.
But so what we're used to is when we go to buy a home, they look at what we make as far as like W-2 and income that we have, and then they check our credit. Well, with a commercial loan, it's kind of different, right? They look at what the asset is going to produce, right? So let's say if and they base the value off, or they base the loan value off of that, right? So
interesting.
Like let's say if the restaurant is making $30,000 a month, right? Then that's where they're gonna approve you for the loan or not, right? So it's not coming out of your personal finances; it's coming from the business that's making money. So just remember that when you go for a commercial loan, yes, you do have to come up with the down payment, which is like 20-25%. So on a mill, that would be what, like 100,000 or something like that. I don't know. Yeah, but that's usually where the money comes from for the down payment. But for commercial loans, it's actually kind of easier if you have a business under it. That's why real estate investors. That's why real estate or commercial real estate investors always want to put a business in the building, like whether it's Home Depot or whatever it is. As long as it's income producing, then they pay the mortgage, they pay the rent, but the other person owns the building. So I think that's really important. That's really important to know, because we
that's an interesting. I didn't realize. Like, I mean, I kind of understood, but like I didn't. Not until you put it in perspective. I had no idea.
Dude, I had no idea. So I just recently was trying to apply for a commercial loan, and this is like I found out the rough way. I'm like, hey man, do I need to submit W-2s and all that good? And he's like, no, that's completely different. So if you want to get a multifamily apartment that is 4 units and above, right? 4 units and above has to be a commercial loan. And they don't look at your personal finances. What they look at is how many tenants are in there and what are they paying for rent. They want to get the lease statements and all that good stuff. Then they decide whether they want to lend you the money. That's where you come up with the 25%. But I didn't know that. Yeah, I didn't know that. So they don't even look at your credit. They don't look at anything. They look at the deal.
Yeah. How much are you making?
Yeah,
on your already property. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is they don't do any loans under like $500K or $750K on multifamily. And I didn't know that. So like, So like the thing is obviously the only hard part is if you don't have a portfolio already, then it's kind of hard to get a loan. They're going to look at your history of like how many properties you have, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, I just thought that's kind of fun. Yeah, no, you learn new shit every day.
$1 million isn't looking so much then, back then.
No, like, that's what I'm saying.
I think he should have bought it. Yeah, now that it's so like perspective, I get it.
Yeah, because like we think, oh my God, $1 million is a lot. We look at the square footage. We look at like you know what I'm saying, like oh my God. But when you think about it, when it's commercial real estate, it's not that big of a deal, right? So I'm just going to throw a number out there. Let's say if the mortgage is going to be like $5-6 grand a month, right? Like let's say on $1 million, then basically what they're going to do is they're going to look and see if the restaurant, like the deck or the whatever income producing that you have, right? Like, I think that's what the most important thing is like, especially if you have a business in there, right? So the goal is you have to get through the first like 2 to 3 businesses first, and then you'll be able to take out commercial real estate loans, no problem, if you have a portfolio. Right. It's just getting to those like 2 or 3. Yeah.
It's like so that, like, bro.
Yeah.
So you're telling me I need like 4 businesses first?
Yeah, well, it's very difficult, man. You have to like it's not easy. You can't just get a commercial loan. You have to you have to come correct with the deal. But what I'm saying is for like strip malls or like like Home Depot, like Home Depots, Lowe's, Walmart, they don't own those buildings. It's usually a real estate person that owns the building, and then they just pay the rent, right? And they do the whole like they gut it and they get everything in there. Like they take care of all of the renovation, I should say, but it's not really a renovation, but they build it, right? So they put a Walmart there, but the real estate is usually owned by a real estate investor, right? A commercial real estate investor. And then they just pay rent. And, that's, that, and sometimes even the parking lot is separate. Did you know that?
Yeah, I knew.
I didn't know that.
I knew the parking lot, but we don't have a parking lot on this one. So
yeah, so sometimes the real estate investor will own the parking lot and also the building instead of the whole shebang. And it's like that's why strip malls are so profitable for real estate investors, because you can have multiple businesses on one piece of land, which is kind of great. But that's why the rent is also cheaper. Yeah, I didn't know that. And I didn't know this was going to be a real estate podcast, but hey, we in
nice. There. Hey man, I learned something new today. I didn't know that. So there's 2 buildings in the same building. So we have the restaurant floor, and then there's I think there's a law firm right above. There's like a big office. I think it's like 600 square feet upstairs, for the whole thing. So like, now I give you a perspective. Back in the 90s, if he bought it, he would have had 2 sections. He could have leased out the top, and then while generating income on the bottom. And the $1 million, he could have turned that in like 2 years, pretty much, because he said in his heyday he was making bank.
Yeah. So basically what I would do is, instead of borrowing $1 million, I would borrow $1.2 million. And I would say that I need $200,000 for renovations. And they'll look at it. All you have to do is bring a quote to them, to the bank or whoever you're getting the money loan from. And they'll usually cover that. You know what I'm saying? They'll loan you the money to do the whole shebang. But the thing is, if you're not making money, then you're in a big issue, big problem, right? If you're not making money, right? So it's like, it's kind of tricky, but at the same time, I think it's really worth it. And it's the only way I would ever open a restaurant if the real estate was purchased straight out, or they own it, because if they're paying a mortgage, then obviously that cost has to come out of the restaurant. It's better if you own it free and clear, because then you have time to start generating income. Good example. Look at my brother right now. We both knew that the Cloud Kitchen wasn't going to be successful because of Burger King, Applebee's, Chili's. They're just when people are clicking through DoorDash and all that, they're going to go with something that they know is comfortable. Popeyes, KFC and shit. Quick. And my brother was looking at their invoices. Their invoices are so cheap, dude. Like, of course they can charge $5 for chicken. Of course, because they're buying the lion's share of chicken and flour and the buns for for the buns for Burger King. I remember he was telling me it was like $3 for 2 dozen, two or 3 dozen. Crazy. They had a whole speed rack of them, and it's like, it's ridiculous, man. It's really difficult to, buy, because some people don't understand. It's like, and I think that's what you should drive home too, is like, you're making good quality food.
Yeah.
Fast food is not good quality, man.
Yeah.
It's not.
That's why it's in a slogan. Well, not a slogan. I don't want to say it a slogan, but it's like chef inspired ramen concept, right? And that's it.
Yeah,
right in the front
curated.
page, chef curated. That's why it's a higher price point. Like I averaged out all the ramen shops around me.
Yeah.
Besides, before going into the city, I have the same prices pretty much. The city's like $22 per bowl. I'm just right at midpoint, like 17. You know?
Yeah. So listen, just so you know, for the future, that's actually called a comp set.
A comp set.
Comp set.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, that's when you take 3 to 5 that are doing the same thing as you, and you average them out. That's usually called a comp set. Just so you know, for future reference. Because ain't nobody teach me that. I had to learn the hard way, dog.
I ain't know that shit.
I'm trying to let you know, dog.
I'm just like, I just did my. Just averaging
so
out shit, whatever.
Yeah. But you did it naturally because you ran kitchens before, bro. You ran kitchens, so you know. So like good examples, like a comp set, like especially in like a hotel environment, right? So you would look at the brunch for 3 to 5 different hotels in your area. Yeah. Then you take that and you match their prices, and then that's what's called a comp set. Yeah. So that's what you're doing. That's good. That's good business savvy because you have to know your demographic, right?
Yeah.
Like
exactly.
You can't come out hot at $27 a bowl of ramen, right?
Like imagine you have to like who the fuck is buying this?
And like the thing is like and I think once you get open, like once you get those nerves past you, it's gonna be game time, right? You're gonna like it's either you're gonna freaking crush this thing, right? You're gonna figure it out, and I think it's gonna be successful. I think you're gonna do a great job. I think. The biggest thing is just keeping your expenses low, bro. Only order what you need for now. Start generating capital, man. Like generate capital. Don't like, you know what I mean? You got to be like,
I do know what you mean.
We call it Bootstrap.
Yeah.
So like a good example is like, my brother's doing the meal prep thing and he's also offering services for this building. And the thing is he doesn't have to pay rent. You know what I'm saying? And it's a huge game changer because guess what? The cost of goods is so expensive, man. Like, dog, the cost of goods. And when you're first starting out, it's really hard to buy wholesale all the time. You have to go retail, and I'm sure you know that. But, once you get your mise en place like up and going and like, you have a standard operating procedure, like you just have to, learn how to manage the cost. And I think you'll be pleasantly surprised, like, especially if it's good. You build it, they will come. Like I'm telling you. I wish I was
really
in
like
Jersey.
that model. Yeah, no, for real. Like I really like the model where if I just run out of this stuff, that's it. Because like I don't want to keep so much over. Like imagine if I just ran it like a regular restaurant, like just have infinite amount because I'm gonna generate it for the next day anyway. I'm only open 1 week, so you have to take consider of that in the long run. I can't have so much product on hand to just sell for 1 fucking day. What am I going to keep this whole thing for another week for the next following? Yeah, no, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, no.
I'm literally just going to prep for that 1 day, whatever it is. And I have another idea, like, how in Japan they do pre-orders? Like they're going to know how much they're going to generate for whatever day it is. Maybe I'll activate that. I don't know. Like, let's say for the following week, like I'm already set. I'm going, I pre-save like 40 bowls, right? It's like, hey, on sale this week, literally get it while it's hot because once it's out, that's it. That's all I have. And I'm guaranteed the 40 bowls already paid. So when they come in Monday, all they're doing is picking it up whatever time the fuck they come in. I don't know. Or maybe, I don't know. I was kind of thinking about that. Like maybe just a pre-save kind of option, but maybe not. I don't know, man. Lots of ideas, lots of stuff. I think you're...
Yeah, man, that sounds good, man. That sounds great. I love it, man. I'm super excited for you. So what else should we get into today, man?
Oh, I just posted our not our controversial episode, but like our revolution episode, I should say, against the stunt food yesterday.
The stunt food. Yeah.
The stunt
you know
foods.
What though? I think it's a good point to bring across because like I think that some of these younger chefs and cooks are thinking that the stunt food is okay. You know what I mean? Like I had like somebody duetted a video and he made like chocolate pasta, right? Mm-hmm. And like, listen, I love the idea, but the execution, and I was looking at it and I'm like, listen, obviously I would try it, but it's not, I don't know, like it just doesn't make sense, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like a pasta for dessert. Like I totally get if like, if it's like a ganache without flour or if the flour is baked. Like I get it if like you want to make it look like if you're making something avant-garde, right? Where you're making a like a chocolate noodle, right? that's, with chocolate ganache and it's for dessert and you twirl it nicely on the plate, then that's great. But if you're going to take an Italian pasta and add cocoa powder and toss it, make it like a savory dish where it's, an 8 to 10 ounce portion and it's just for a wow factor, like it's a real big gray area. And that's what, I forgot what his name is, but I saw the video and he had a great point. He's like, this is stunt food. This is stunt food and it's not good. This chef can do better, blah, blah, blah. And it's funny because everybody's getting trapped into making like these viral videos that people are going to pay attention to. But what I'm concerned about is that young cook, that young person that, he's starting to cook and he sees this and his eyes get big and then he goes to a real kitchen and then, he gets freaking hammered down. Like, He, you know what I'm saying? Like, bro, if you came to me and said if you want to put a chocolate pasta on the menu for dessert, like, I'm going to ask why, but I'm immediately going to question it, right? Yeah. And then the thing is you're going to get questioned on where you learned that from. And then it's going to lead back to TikTok. I learned it on TikTok. I learned it on YouTube. Like, this is real. And that's why I think it's important for real chefs or people that are kind of food savvy that know the difference between stunt food and real food, right? And then it gets to this, like, let's be honest, and God, I don't want to use it. I love Guga Foods and I love Nick Giovanni. Like, I love their content. I want to start with that. But, they are doing a brisket that is, squirting about a half gallon of beef juice. Yeah. Right. Which we know, like, come on. I know that's not real. Like, I've cooked plenty of briskets. I know that's not. They're like, oh, this brisket's juicy, and then they they press it, and it like squirts out like a cup of beef jus, right? Yeah. And like, I know there's something set up behind there, like squeezing it out of the middle or whatever, like in between the flap and the like, I know it because I've cooked plenty of briskets, and there's no way it can produce that amount of liquid. Yep. And it's funny because like, I know that some young cooks and kids are going to associate that with the perfect brisket. Like, this is how it should be cooked. It should be this juicy, right? Like, and I just want to say, like, listen, sometimes things and edits are made for the views, and they're made for the knee-jerk reaction, the virality, and people need to understand that. Like, me, you, Jem, Kyle, we know that. Like, the Chef's Club freaking network or whatever
needs to go.
Dog.
It really does. They need to go.
But you're right. Like,
or rather, disclaimer. Like, they don't need to go. Like, the stunt, I'm okay with stunt food, right? As long as it's in the front. You know how you watch like parkour or some shit? There's right at the bottom, there's like a big fat fucking actions done in this video could lead to injury, whatever the fuck it is. A disclaimer, something like that. Maybe, I don't know who's going to facilitate it, but like something of the same matter when it's stunt food, Don't do this in a professional setting. It could be dangerous because it can. Like, I think Early Pete's one of the people that I follow. He duetted Giovanni's video where Nick literally, I think, fried like a big ball or something. I forget what the fuck it is, and the oil all overflew. Like, in the kitchen, you just messed it up. First of all, you could have started a fire.
First of all,
you know what I'm saying?
I wouldn't recommend frying in a Pyrex at all. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Like, that too. I like, listen, I get it for the camera, and I totally get it. But it's just like, when he drops that shit in the oil like that, like, yeah, you're right. If that would have touched any amount of flame, it would have been combustible. Yeah. Like,
it was just like this, boom, and then what do you do? God forbid they don't have an actual. I think it's a Type B, the extinguisher for the grease, not the A, because A is for electric or whatever.
Now I'm gonna
do
play.
They know that?
I'm gonna play.
I don't know.
I'm gonna play devil's avocado here and say, he might have just done that for the shot. It might have been intentional, right? Because I know Nick knows how to cook, and I'm not sitting here bashing him, but like, I know he knows how to cook, right? Like, the basic principles of cooking, but it was a very close up shot. So, he could have also took that oil screaming off the heat, right? And put it over to the side where it was a controlled environment. It could have been over a 400 pan, right? And he could have just, got the close up and then dropped the thing in, and it could have, the oil could have spilled over into the 400 pan. Like, we don't know. It could have been outside. It could have been, it could have been a controlled environment is what I'm trying to drive home. And it could have been created just for the wow factor or the virality, just like I was saying. Now, am I going to do some dumb shit like that? No, because people look up to me. They ask me questions. They and like, listen, the reason why I push so hard to try to teach people the proper way or the right way is because I was that cook at 16 to 19 that learned, 14 to like 17, where unfortunately I learned a crazy amount of bad habits. You know, I learned so many bad habits and like nobody would show me the proper way. Like I would just follow, monkey see, monkey do. Right. Yeah. So I would see what these fucking hack cooks would do and I would just follow them. You know what I'm saying? And it really, really destroyed my first couple of years professionally. Mm-hmm. It really did. And I promised myself when I am a chef, I'm going to teach people the right way, no matter what kind of slack I get. And you see it happens. Like, bro, I'm not sitting here trying to call people out or like say anything. I'm just going to say, hey, listen, I know you learned this, but I'm going to show you the right way. Yeah. And I spent, hours and hours and days and years of learning how to be a chef, learning how to cook, learning how to do this. Like I've put in the fucking work, man. And like, I am going to show you the right way. And if like somebody wants to debate about it, let's go. The floor is open. Like, let's do it. Like when I stitched Ming Tsai's video about the salty pasta water, I meant what I said. I said, you know why? Because I had to learn the hard way in the restaurant, right? Like people are telling me to season the water like the ocean. And, and I remember, man, I'll never forget. I was at the Breakers Resort and, I'm about to start saute service. And I'm like, and I learned this at Macaroni Grill. Season the pasta water like the ocean. Yeah, the ocean. Yeah, ocean. Yeah. Every single fucking chef from culinary school all the way to like my current chefs. And then like, boom, dog, these pastas started coming back. Yeah. Salty. And then so like chef was like, hey, don't add salt to the pasta. So here we go. I'm not adding salt to the pasta. And I'm like, I'm like, chef, I think the pasta water is just too salty, right? Like, because I wasn't the only one that added salt. Like he added salt, somebody else added salt. It needs to taste like the ocean, like blah, blah, blah. And I remember like, I had one rondo on. And so anyway, I'm like, hey, like I think because the pastas just started coming back, like by the fucking too salty. And so then we started, we tried to like, the problem is getting a rondo on the stove to boiling and removing the other one. Oh, takes forever, bro. Forever. Oh Lord, have mercy. Yeah. And then I remember thinking in my head, like, you know what? This is stupid. This is freaking stupid because as a chef, what do you want? You want control over the process. Yeah. I don't care same thing with running a kitchen. You want control over the way the food comes out, the way the orders come in, like you want full control. Mm-hmm. And what I realized is then when I became a chef, it kind of happened again, right? Where I had sous chefs said, sous chefs would be like, hey, salt the pasta water like the ocean. Yeah. They would tell the pasta cook, right? And then I had an epiphany. I remember running the kitchen. 3 pastas came back. 2 were kids' pastas. 1 was, the pasta started coming back, right? And I'm going over and I taste the pasta water and I'm like, yo, it's too salty. I'm like, it's too salty. And they're like, but it's like the ocean. And I'm like, you know what? Forget about that. About that. Let's talk about cooking. Like, I'm like, look, let's refire this. And then so I'm working the station and then I'm like, you know what? It's much better to, if you want to put a tablespoon of salt in there, I don't care. But like the water shouldn't be too salty. And then, so I remember training this and then boom, we started, and then I changed that immediately. That was the moment in my life where I changed that narrative. And I stitched Ming Tsai's video because guess what he says? He's like, hey, it's like salty like the ocean. Salty like the ocean. And I'm just like, you know what? No, like, and I stitch it and I'm like, hey, Ming Tsai, I love Ming Tsai. I used to watch his channel, his shows growing up. Amazing. But like, we can't train like this anymore. You can't teach a young cook like this anymore because like, look, here's the thing. There's so many variables, right? He's only cooking 1 package of noodles, right? Yeah, exactly. So if you're at your house and you're cooking 1 package of noodles or whatever, like, it's subjective. But like what I'm saying is the way this translates to a kitchen is tough, man. It's like, if you have one cook that's cooking 6 different pastas, like, that water cannot be as salty as the ocean. What if somebody orders no salt? You have no control over that. You have to start another pot, right?
100%. So I stitched your video, right? And I gave perspective. And I went back and forth with this one person for quite a bit. I want to say a couple of days. He's misunderstanding what I'm trying to say. So I keep saying at the end of my video, right? And after I stitch your video, I'm like, season at the end because I want to control the salt. But like pertaining to the pasta water, not anything else. He keeps trying to say that I'm not teaching to season every step of the way, etc. I'm like, at what point in the video did I say that? I'm telling you I season every step of the way. So I don't salt the pasta water so I can control the salt. Like, I don't know How else I can tell you that? And then also, here's the other variable to it. People outside, like your guests, oftentimes they would ask for Parmesan cheese, like extra, to put in the pasta dish. That's an extra added layer of salt. So what do we do now? Is it going to be over salty? Is it just going to be just enough to taste so they can add more to it? And and also it's another point in here is like it's an outdated method. Like it really is. Like it shouldn't be taught like that anymore. And I think that's like old generation versus new generation versus like even upcoming ones that should know better. So I don't know.
I think what it's about is it's about the different layers of seasoning. All right. So here's the thing. Like if you were to tell me I'm not going to season the pasta water, I kind of agree. I really agree. You know why? Because you cook the pasta 80% in the water and then 20% in the sauce, right?
Yes.
So the thing is having control over that is like more important to me than the ego of having salt in the pasta water, right? Like, listen, I've ran multiple pasta stations. It's not like I'm not speaking from experience. You know what I'm saying? Like my thing is like, I couldn't agree more. We had like 6 different, 3 extruded pastas, 2 fresh pastas, 3 fresh pastas. So I'm not talking about your pot at home. I don't care what you do at your house. Like a lot of people that, that watch us or listen to us, we're chef driven, channels, you know what I'm saying? Like this is important, not to say that there's nothing like that. Like I'm not comparing chefs to home cooks. They're equally respectable. They're equally respectable. Right. What I'm saying is to the young cook, to the person that is learning, do not season the pasta do not season the water like the pasta. It's too salty. Or like season the water like the ocean. It's too salty. What you want to season it like is like a soup, seasoned soup, right? Soup. Like keep it like that. But like the thing is for pastas, especially fresh pastas, you can get away with a little bit more salt because they cook faster. But I am such a believer, like usually when you start a pasta, you get the pan on, you add your aromatics, whatever it is, right? Then you make your sauce, right? Boom. Whether that's tomato or it's a butter sauce or it's a Parmesan sauce, cheese sauce, whatever it is. Then you add your pasta. Then you taste for seasoning. Then you finish, right? It's like, it's very simple. Don't overthink it. But if the pasta water is too salty and your cheese sauce is seasoned and your tomato sauce is seasoned, your vegetables are seasoned, then you as the cook add salt. Like, dude, by the time you get to that dish where the guest is eating the whole thing, remember, as cooks, we're just tasting one piece, right? Yeah. We're just tasting for seasoning and then we're going from there. But usually, 80% of pastas get finished with what? Parmesan cheese or some type of cheese or some kind of salt, some type of, Or like if it's a sausage pasta, like I've had that before where like the chorizo is cured, it's a cured meat, right? So it's like whether it's chorizo salt. Or prosciutto or, so passata, it doesn't matter. Like if it's a piece of charcuterie, it's salty, right? Yeah. And so this is also, you have to take in consideration. It's just like, my favorite pasta restaurant is Felix in Los Angeles.
Felix. Okay.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, like, the pastas are seasoned so like they are right on the edge of being too salty. I'm not going to lie. It was a little bit too salty for me, but like I totally get where he's coming from as a chef. He's teetering the edge where it's like, okay, because I know that this pasta was a share thing. And so like when you're just tasting, like a little bit less than a quarter of a cup, then you can get away with a little extra seasoning. But if somebody's eating a whole main entree dish of pasta, then their face is going to swell up a little bit if it's too salty.
So that's what I meant. So I think
it's good.
I've been doing the whole, or rather, I sound like a fucking dick. If you don't believe me, how about let's try it all together. Like do one with however you want to season, do one with slightly less, and do one without it. Do a test. That's what I was trying to say. Do a test, do it at your own volition, then come back at me with how you feel about it. Because for me, no salt till the very end is always the control for me. Because I don't want to be too salty, because people will always add more. Like you can always add more. You can never take away. Like that is such a big concept in cooking. You can
I don't blame you. I don't blame you, especially if you're in a corporate restaurant environment or if you're in a hotel environment. Yeah. Right. Like, having that, like that's a great point to drive home. So like if you have a station that has kid pastas on it, if you have a station that has multiple pastas on it, dude, take the ego aside. Like, because I will be honest, we stopped putting salt in the pasta water and just seasoned as we go. Right. So like with Wolfgang Puck, it's kind of like, it's called TBG, right? TBG is tomato, basil, garlic, whatever. And there was plenty of salt in that sauce. Like, and when you're talking about kid food, you don't want it too salty. And when you're talking about making multiple pastas, like, yo, having that control is clutch. Now, I will say this. Having a pasta machine that is circulating the water, where you have water coming in and it's has a drain as well. That's the money right there. So you can season that as heavy as you want, but it keeps circulating water. And like what we realized is it was just a waste of time, right? So it's a pasta machine with like 6 baskets and it has a little water in it. And like, the thing is like, obviously as the water is boiling, you have fresh coming in. You know what I'm saying? So that's a much more controlled process. But the thing is you can't over season that water. Like it's literally 5 gallons. You know what I'm saying? So like for us, it was just a waste of time.
Exactly. And you're actually wasting product if you salt it. But also, it's $15,000 for that machine, FYI, or 8.5 used.
But you know what? Like in all honesty, I think it's really worth it to have that machine if you have a pasta focused concept, right? Like arguably even 2 of those, one for fresh, one for dry, and keep it moving. But man, that's a great topic, man. That's
for
awesome.
Like for my ramen, I want the one with the numbers, so you can set it, forget it. Like think about it for efficiency's sake. You drop your pasta or your nudes, right? You set it for a minute 30. Yeah, minute 30, 90 seconds, whatever. Goes down. You twirl it for a sec. You turn around. You do all your fixings. It comes up. You dump it into your bowl. Like I can't think of anything better. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, I think you should definitely set a timer. When I'm in the kitchen, I have multiple timers. Like
I have a timer.
Because sometimes when you're multitasking too much, shit gets lost in the sauce, man. Like especially really things in the oven.
Can we talk about timers? I don't want to throw shade at my guy again, but like he doesn't use timers. He likes to write notes everywhere, so he often forgets. My owner. So let's say he has something in the ovens, he'll have like 5 notes, right? And then oftentimes like, oh shit, I forgot. Now you're like 4 or 5 minutes over. Like what happens? I'm the one there with like 5, the little digital clocks. It's like $6 or something. Like you literally just set it. Like what's your version 2? He's like, exactly. I've been doing this for 30 years. So.
I'm at the point where I'm not, if I was cooking multiple things, I would have multiple timers, but I just use voice command with the AirPod. So I'll just say, hey Siri, set a timer 5 minutes, right? Because then you're like, there's no chance, especially when you're making sourdough. Like when I'm making sourdough bread, man, I've got the timer on standby, bro. Time and temperature is so important when you are making sourdough because like, I can wing it, but like, I can't stress enough. Anybody out there, if you ever make sourdough before, it's a 12-hour process. It's like, like minimum, even longer. But like, you have to turn the dough every half an hour, right? So you're not going to remember. Just hit the timer. Take the,
just hit the timer.
And then,
like, I think it's ego. If you're not, I think it's ego too. He doesn't want to.
If you're not at like above around 90 degrees Fahrenheit, you know what I'm saying? It's going to take longer. It's going to take longer. It's going to take, if it's too hot, you have to manage the time and temperature. Like that is what we're talking about with cooking in general. Time and temperature is very important.
Time, temperature,
so important.
Control, season as you go. There's just all controversy, but it takes years to kind of get honed into the kitchen. You don't expect to learn it in, overnight or maybe in a couple years. Maybe you'll get a good sense of it, but it really takes take the time to learn it. Feel it, understand the components that go into your cooking. Like for my broth, typically it'll take about 4 hours. But sometimes it depends on the fat content of the bones. It could be like 3.5 or maybe even 2 hours. You just have to pay attention to it. And that's the main concept to it. Just pay attention. And I think you'll get to where you need it. But it's rough. Had I done this like the first year, I wouldn't know. I'd be like, it takes 4 hours. Yeah, I just set it there, whatever. I forget it. Yeah, no, that's not how it goes. You have to pay attention to this stuff. But yeah, man, I guess we can't drive it home any further. Just pay attention to what you do and always have an open mind. That's like the second part of it.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I couldn't agree more, man. Yeah.
That is it, man.
All right, what's next? What are we talking about next? What are we getting into next, brother?
Well, I mean, we can get into some cooking procedures I've been seeing on the interwebs quite a bit.
Oh no, you know what? You know what I want to talk about? I want to talk about people on the internet calling themselves chefs. that aren't real, that don't have
Here
the
we go.
credentials, and we know it. We know
Here we
it.
go.
But we don't have to pull any videos. Let's just talk generally.
Yeah. Okay.
Generally. So we won't use any names. We won't, because like I just think it's doing people a due diligence. But look, I'm gonna come out correct and say it. Listen, I'm coming out with a YouTube series where it's all about learning how to cook, and it's all about the basic fundamentals. Not gonna lie, the first 15 episodes are gonna be very boring. It talks about the history of cooking. That gives me the and this is a little promo myself for the people that aren't for the people that are just listening. I'm actually teaching directly out of the Professional Chef, the 9th edition. And I think this is really important because, then you're not just having my opinion. This is direct literature, and it's not debatable, right? So like,
Got it.
And listen, and I know it sounds kind of like a cop-out, but it's not. Basically what I'm doing is I'm reading from the textbook, then I'm giving my opinion. But I think it's really important that young cooks know, the CIA book is very good. Now, do I recommend going to freaking spend $140,000 on culinary school?
Don't do
no.
that.
Hell no, bro. So what I'm doing is I'm taking that thick book and I'm giving you the cliff notes, what I think you should know, definitely as going into the chef career. And I'm not charging anything for it. You just got to subscribe to my YouTube. You will see that I'm going to start dropping episodes here pretty soon. I've got like 5 in the queue. But
Nice.
What I wanted to get at is, for all my young cooks and chefs out there, or whoever's deciding to take on the culinary industry, make sure that you get your information from a trained professional. Okay. Now, there are a ton of people out there that are literally putting on chef jackets, putting their name on the jacket, and saying that they are chefs. And listen, I totally understand where they are coming from, and I don't really care about them. But the only problem that I have is you can't call yourself a chef if you don't have the prerequisite, right? Or if you haven't put in the work. And I think that's really important. And I'm not trying to be negative, but, you have all these young kids, right, that are like, 18, 19, 20, 21, whatever. Like, and they think they're chefs because they graduated culinary school. Yeah. And I'm like, no, actually, matter of fact, it's the opposite. You start from the fucking bottom when you graduate culinary school. You start from the bottom. And the thing is they just graduate culinary school and they're like, oh, okay, I'm going to be a private chef now. And, or I'm going to be a personal chef. And it's like, okay, I understand where you're coming from. And if you want to teach people how to be a personal chef or a private chef, I'll do it. Yeah. Like, it's fine. But when you start talking about restaurant shit, back the fuck up. Okay? Back up. And when
Do you
start
think that's
talking
what
about
separates it though? Like, I think we will get a lot of, they've cooked at XYZ, or they've been doing this for 5 years or some shit like that.
Yeah. The thing is like, it's definitely a gray area and it's definitely debatable, right? So if you're like, here, let me explain a little bit more. So like, the thing is if you're a personal chef or a private chef, this is totally cool. Like, it's totally fine. If your clientele calls you chef, then that's okay. That's great. Yeah. But the real question is, can you teach other people? Can you teach other chefs, young chefs that want to be chefs in restaurants and want to be chefs in hotels? That's where there becomes an issue. If you've never had the experience yourself of like running an actual kitchen. Not to say that there's anything wrong with being a personal chef or a private chef, whatever. But like, we're talking about,
it's just a different field,
It is. It's kind of different. But like, if you like, and that's what I'm saying. That's what's debatable, right? Because like, for me, I don't care. I'm not going to get caught up on the subject. Yeah. But like, a good example is like, I have a meal prep company, right? Me and my brother. Does it take a professionally trained chef to have a meal prep company? Hell no. Hell no. But like, the thing is it becomes debatable when you are, you come out of culinary school and you are like, hey, I want to teach the basics of cooking and I want to teach, the basics of this. And you're teaching what you learned in culinary school. Like, I think that's cool. But then the problem is once you start pushing it into more advanced culinary, like it becomes an issue where you're cutting the carrot very carefully. Like, if I were to give you a carrot right now, Casey, and you start cutting it, I would know if you were a chef or not.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
easy.
You know what I mean?
It's an easy take.
When I hear some of these young cooks or whatever you want to call them, when I hear them talking about some techniques, like, I feel like they are just saying what they learned as far as the basic level. But the difference between like, and I don't want to compare myself to them or whatever, but just as well as I know, the the young cooks out there that are just pretending to be chefs. Like, I totally get it, but just understand that if you are learning from these people, you need to see that they have the prerequisite of teaching and teaching technique. And I know it's controversial, and I'm not trying to shit on anybody, but listen, it is what it is, man. It's the way of the world. And let me give you a good example. I can teach my kid how to change a light bulb, but that doesn't make me an electrician. You know what I'm saying? I can change a toilet. I can freaking change the flap. I can, literally take the toilet out of my bathroom right now and put another one in there without looking at any instructions. Yeah. I can cut off the water. I can do that. But does that make me a plumber?
No.
And that's what's really important, that I think people get confused. And then that's the other thing. It's like young people learn off of these influencers with a, kind of a following. And I can tell the real ones from the fake ones, man. I got it. Like,
yeah. You, especially with knife skills. Can I just, like, I know you mentioned it. Like, if we were all, I think the best way, like, what if we took all of them, such a broad statement, all of the pretend ones and the pro ones, and just have them cut shit. And then just look at the hands and how they hold themselves. I bet you in like 3 minutes, fake, pretend, pro, like in 2 seconds.
Yeah, that's like the biggest giveaway too, because I can tell, like, and unfortunately, like, I got to be honest, like, if you make it to a sous chef level, right, then, in my eyes, you're considered a chef. I'll call you chef. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And unfortunately, I see that a lot where some people get hired on as a sous chef, right, straight away. And unfortunately, I hate to say it, Casey, but that makes them a chef, Now, sous chef, but not an executive chef. And like the thing is like, same thing with kitchen manager, right? Like, so if you get hired on as a kitchen manager, hey, like, they're not going to say they're a kitchen manager, but they'll say they're a chef, right? Yeah. And so I think it's a gray area, but here's a good example. I had a cook that worked for me. And great cook, awesome cook. And due to the pandemic, he went straight from cook to executive chef.
Oh shit! Just jumps. Yes. Oh damn. Okay.
And he straight away, like, so he moved from Los Angeles up here to San Francisco, and he got this offer to be an executive chef for a company that was growing. And obviously you couldn't find any chefs, and so they just gave him. He went from a lead cook to an executive chef. But here's the thing, man. Here's the thing. And this is what happened. This is a true story. He reaches out to me. He's freaking out. And he's like, chef, I need some help, man. And I'm like, all right. I'm like, what do you need help with? He's like, well, I just got hired as an executive chef. And, I'm in charge of the menu now. I'm in charge of labor. I'm in charge of food cost. And I'm in charge of XYZ, right? And he's like, I don't know how to do any of it. He's like, can you help me? I'm like, all right, cool. I'm gonna show you I got you. And so I sent him a profit and loss statement. I'm like, here, this is what you're gonna look for. You're in charge of food and beverage. You're in charge of the labor and a little bit of linen, but not too much. And then I'm like, also menu design and menu execution. And then I'm like, here, what software do you use to order food? I'm asking him everything, right? Like, hey, literally, you need to know what this is. I'm like, what software do you use to order food? How do you order food? He's like, I don't know. I'm like, okay, well, you need to find the fuck out. And I'm like, let's do this. We're going to do this together. All right. And so it's funny because then he goes and he writes all this stuff down. Then he asks his boss, and he's like, oh, you're like, his boss was like, well, you're well prepared. Like, I didn't know you were going to, have all this information. Yeah. But anyway, it was kind of like a glorified kitchen manager position. The ownership kind of just said, hey, this is an executive chef position. And it's like a sports bar and grill, bro. Like, but it's a chef driven one. So
correct.
Totally get it. So then he was in charge of like doing specials and all that good stuff. And then he started the job. But the problem is he didn't do the work to be a sous chef. He didn't do the work to be, a junior sous chef first, or a,
even a KM or a Tournat, yeah.
He didn't go through the proper steps. So now he's back at sous chef level, back in LA, right? He's back in Los Angeles at sous chef level, which is totally fine. I think that's because I told him, I was like, listen, this is not going to be easy for you, man. This is not. It's like
rough,
because you don't have the managerial skills to multitask and because I know what type of cook he is. He's bomb cook, really good cook, man. But he's hot tempered. You know what I'm saying? And as a chef, it's and he did really good. But what I'm saying is you do yourself a due justice by not going the proper way, right?
Yeah.
And now listen, there's no easy road to becoming a chef. I don't care who you are. But you're doing yourself a disjustice if you go straight from prep cook to sous chef or straight from cook to executive chef or chef de cuisine. I literally, when I got off the phone with him, I said, all right, we'll talk to you later, chef. You know?
Yeah.
And I'm not sitting here saying, no, you need to be a sushi. Yo, get your money. Get your money. Like, get your bread, man. We ain't tripping. Ain't nobody tripping.
You know,
and I'm I'm going to help you get through this because I mentored him as a cook. So I feel like I'm part of his future. And let me tell you something. I gave him every task I could think of as cooks. All my cooks, you talk to any of them, I was always challenging them. You know what I'm saying? Always creating specials, always, the list goes on, man. And I'm not trying to pump myself up, but I'm just being honest. Like I would make them butcher their own proteins, even though a lot of chefs won't let you touch the fish, right? They're like, yeah, butcher the chicken. No, I'm like, yo, take that salmon. You're going to portion it. I want to see the edible portion. I want to see how much trim, what waste you got. Right. And I want everything neat and organized. Right. And then you date, label, all the above. You have to implement these standards. And I think you miss that when you just jump from position to position. Right.
Over. Yeah. I think what people don't realize too, like once you get to exec is the most ridiculous thing because it's 80% paperwork. Like I think people just need to understand that because you are managing such a bigger amount. You're not necessarily cooking anymore. You have to do P&Ls, you have to do reports, you have to do costs, menu creation. Like 80% of your time will be on the fucking computer. It really is. As rough as that sounds, you're probably there in a window, 6 or 7 hours, if that. The rest of your shit is in the office. Like you're doing all paperwork. If you're not ready for that, I don't think you should jump. Because I didn't realize that when I went from KM to Sous to exec in a matter of like 4 years, like really quickly.
Yeah.
When I got to Sous and I'm like, is it literally just paperwork? I got to exec, I'm like, it's just fucking paperwork. It's literally paperwork. And then I'm telling my Sous to command the line, here's what's gonna go, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, is this what I want? Like, like, like an outside perspective, like, do I want to do this?
I had dog, when I became executive chef, I didn't want that freaking position at all. Like I had nothing to do with it. And like, I feel like for me, it was like, I was just like, so I don't want to say unhappy, but I was just like, you know what? Like my current role is executive chef, but like it's very hands-on, right? And I'm fucking hands deep, right? And I love it. But, I think what's really important is just, some people excel more than others. Some people take more time. I've met some sous chefs that are really good cooks, but horrible sous chefs. I've met some cooks that suck at cooking, but really good at managing and delegating. Yeah. And like, that's why it's so individualized. And I get it, man. Some people, they come out of culinary school and they're able to get a sous chef position or whatever the case may be. And like, they just like fake until they make it, work 6 months and then roll out and start doing their own thing. I totally get it. The restaurant industry sucks, but it's changing. Yeah. And, I see this a lot, like where somebody will make a sous chef at a hotel or like a Hilton or a Holiday Inn or whatever the case may be, where it's really easy to be a sous chef, and they call themselves chefs. And I totally get that, man. But just like, make sure you back it up, right?
So I guess the question, Brandon, if you have a coat on social media with your name on it, it says chef on it, do we trust that individual? I think the question is just do your due diligence, right? To understand. I don't know because I don't know any. I don't know. I'll be honest. As a chef, I don't wear my chef jacket in my house ever, unless I'm because like sometimes I'll wear I won't wear an undershirt, and so then I'll have I can't take my chef jacket. I feel uncomfortable taking my chef jacket off at work with no undershirt, so I'll just throw my sweatshirt on and freaking I'll just leave and I'll come home and then take it off. But like, I never film with my chef jacket on ever. Yeah. It's just weird, right? You're not going to wear your chef jacket in the house, but like some people do it for show, and some people, and I don't care. Like it doesn't bother me, but like at the same time, it's kind of, I think it's kind of funny a little bit, It's a little funny. It's just not something I do. Yeah. It's just not something I do, but like, Jem does it, but he's also a chef and it's fine. It's whatever. So like, I think, like you can tell just like I can tell, if somebody's a chef, like and like, I don't want to be the person that calls them out or anything like that. I think people should get their bag, whatever they want to do, but just for the consumer, right? This is what I'm referring to. Make sure the only thing you have to do is say, hey, where did you train? Where did you work? That's it. What kitchen did you lead? That is the prerequisite, man. Like you have to run a kitchen to be a chef. That's now whether or not that's a 3 or 4 person kitchen or a 20 to 35 person kitchen, it doesn't matter, right? But like if you run your own kitchen where you have a cook under you, then yes, you're a chef. I think the thing too, like what what was I gonna say? Like when you're whenever it's referring to a chef, like even if you just look on like Indeed or whatever, there's always a prerequisite there. Led a kitchen for 3 years as whatever, because they require you to have that experience so you know what you're doing. Just having that alone, and whatever the people are looking for, you would know. Like if you've done this before, X, Y, Z, and you can't really fake that. I mean, I guess you can, right? If you're just really good at it, but the employer would know immediately as soon as you kind of go about your business. They would know, and like it's their decision to whether float you or not. But it's such a crazy matter. That name, chef, you know. Like
it is, and I know it's super subjective, and listen, I know to all the people out there who you think like, I know you probably think that Chef Casey and I are freaking assholes for saying this, but we're just trying to elaborate a little bit, because chef actually means something, okay? It actually means something in our world. And that's it. I don't really care. And all we're talking about is the social media influence on the chef world, because this is all new. Think about this. Influencing just became popular literally less than 5 years ago, bro. Like in 2014, we wouldn't have this conversation. We wouldn't be talking about brand deals. We wouldn't be talking like, it's like, this is all new. So we're just trying to, keep it like, listen, just because you throw on a chef jacket and put your name on it and then post on Instagram doesn't make you a chef. That's all I'm saying. It doesn't. Wow. And like, I've called out plenty of chefs. There was this one chef on live who, who was not confident in their skills, because, and like, listen, don't get this mixed up. If you are doing your spin on a recipe at your house, like if you're making birria tacos and you're like, hey, this is how I do my birria tacos. Like, I don't care about that. If you are teaching young cooks how to do techniques, and how to make a stock, here's a good thing. Like a lot of people at home, when they make a stock, a vegetable stock, they throw all the trim, all the freaking roots in all the shit. If you're doing that at your own house, I don't care. Cool. If you don't want to waste anybody, I totally get it. But in my world, in the restaurant world, stock is not a garbage can. Yeah. Okay? It's a whole thing, not a garbage can. And it's like those trim go in the garbage or in compost or whatever you want to say, because I'm in California, so you have to compost. But don't teach people this. You know what I'm saying? You say, hey, this is what I do in my own house. Like, boom, this is how I limit my waste. This is not how you make vegetable stock. Okay? Yeah. That's bottom line. I mean, listen, I called one person out for doing this because they were like, oh, chef, this is a great idea. And I'm like, and I duetted the video and I said, no, it's not. It's not. Yeah. Stock is not a garbage can. The stock is the foundation of your restaurant. Chicken stock, vegetable stock is all a foundation of your restaurant. It goes into 90% of your menu items. This needs to be the most flavorful, the most cleanest, purest flavor. Yes. Bottom line. Don't care. I will die. I will die on that. Like, dog, you're not going to take your ramen broth and put fucking roots in there, bro. Mm-mm. No, it's sacred. It's sacred. Same thing with stock, vegetable stock or chicken stock or veal stock. I don't want to see any dirty root ends in there. I don't want to see any carrot peels. I don't want to see any freaking celery bottoms. Nah. When I worked, and it's crazy because I had to change this mentality when I worked at in Las Vegas. I saw the prep cook saving all these fucking bins. I thought he was going to compost it. Yeah. He vegetables all day, and it's funny because that was my first couple days. And then he literally throws this whole shebang in the veal stock, right? Oh, wow. Yeah, and it's funny because then I make a veal stock. And then, anyway, I'm not going to talk about the chef. Then I'm like, chef, listen, you can... But the chef was really old school, so he's like, no. He's like, we don't want to waste it. And I'm like, listen, let me tell you something, man. You're saving about $5. Yeah. I'm like, look, a case of carrots. Well, back in the day, it was like a case of carrots was like $10, right? Yeah. And I'm like, you're saving literally $5. Like, I'll give you an extra $1. You're saving $6. But you're compromising standard. And you know what I'm saying? So everyone just keep in mind, stock is not a garbage can. Yeah. Stock is not say it with me. Stock is not a garbage can. If you are at your own house or you're in a farm or do whatever you want at your own house. What I'm talking about is when you're in a restaurant environment or you're training or becoming a chef, stock is not a garbage can. Nobody told me this. I had to learn the freaking hard way. Okay? Right? I had to learn the freaking hard way. So anyway, let's wrap it up, dog. I gotta move on my day, but I'm charged up now. I'm charged up now. I'm ready to go.
Just imagine, maybe I should do that as a video. Just throw like stupid ends in like a pretend stock that I'm gonna start for my ramen. This is how I
Yeah.
started. Oh my god, that shit will blow up.
Yeah, but
man.
you know what? You know what? Like
wouldn't do
I'll
that,
play
though.
devil's avocado here, where like I take spring onion bottoms, and or I'll take like baby leek bottoms, and then
Yeah,
I'll
those are
grow
different
them
though. Alliums
Yeah,
are like
grow
Yeah, it's
them
like a different
extra.
thing.
Yeah, clean off the dirt. Like if you just put it in water, the roots will start growing, and that way you get a clean root. You know, you candy this and fry it. It's one of the best things I've ever had in my life. Yeah, and I learned that technique at Alinea, and I was like, this is wonderful.
Yeah.
Corn silk, right? Corn silk, baby corn silk, not the big corn silk, but baby corn silk. If you take it and braise it in simple syrup, and then take it out, dry it, dehydrate it, and then fry it, freaking amazing. It's freaking
Again,
amazing. Yeah.
this is the experience showing, right? We had enough of it that we can now play against the rules, and I think that's your end goal eventually. You know, you put in so much time already. Now you start questioning. Hey, maybe we should do this, but still know the basics. But yeah, man, that's it. Nothing too crazy. We will be back. Any questions, any concerns, let us know. Any comments, we would love to have your opinions. But other than that, though, that's what we got.